In this video, we delve into the alarming phenomenon of permafrost thaw, a critical consequence of rising global temperatures. As frozen ground begins to melt, it not only releases trapped greenhouse gases but also awakens ancient pathogens that have been dormant for millennia. Join us as we explore the impacts of this thaw on ecosystems, infrastructure, and our planet, while also discussing potential solutions and ongoing research aimed at mitigating these risks. Stay tuned as we uncover the intricate and pressing issues associated with this geological change. 1. Understanding permafrost. Permafrost is a fascinating yet alarming natural phenomenon. It refers to ground that remains frozen for at least 2 consecutive years. Mostly found in polar regions like Siberia, Alaska, and Canada, permafrost plays a critical role in the Earth's climate system. Imagine the ground as a giant freezer, preserving ancient organic materials for thousands of years. These frozen soils are not just barren wastelands, they're teeming with life, albeit in a state of deep freeze. With the stability of this frozen ground, ecosystems and communities have adapted to its presence, relying on it for various ecological and cultural functions. Understanding permafrost is essential as it holds the key to some of the pressing environmental challenges of our time. 2. Impact of rising temperatures. The Earth's climate is warming, and nowhere is this more evident than in the Arctic regions. Global warming is causing permafrost to thaw, a process that has significant repercussions. As the frozen ground begins to melt, it releases trapped greenhouse gases like methane and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This thawing process can be likened to opening a Pandora's box, where the consequences are far-reaching and difficult to contain. Rising temperatures are not just a distant problem, they are a clear and present danger that demands urgent attention. The release of these gases further accelerates climate change, creating a vicious cycle that is hard to break. The thawing of permafrost is a ticking time bomb that could have catastrophic effects on our planet. 3. Greenhouse gas emissions. The potential for greenhouse gas emissions from thawing permafrost is staggering. Scientists estimate that up to 1,500 gigatons of carbon could be released into the atmosphere. To put this in perspective, that's more carbon than has been released by all human activities since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. This enormous release could drastically accelerate climate change, making it even more challenging to mitigate its effects. Think of it as opening a vault containing centuries' worth of carbon, suddenly spilling into our already burdened atmosphere. The implications are dire, as increased greenhouse gases contribute to more frequent and severe weather events, rising sea levels, and disruptions to global ecosystems. The urgency to address this issue cannot be overstated. 4. The threat of ancient pathogens. As if the release of greenhouse gases wasn't concerning enough, scientists warn of another threat lurking within the thawing permafrost: ancient pathogens. These are viruses and bacteria that have been dormant for thousands of years, preserved in the frozen ground. With the thaw, there is a possibility that these ancient microorganisms could be revived, posing risks to human and animal health. It's akin to opening a time capsule, but instead of treasures, we may find hidden dangers. The potential for these ancient pathogens to cause new outbreaks is a chilling prospect. While current research is ongoing, it's a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our environment and the potential consequences of disrupting its delicate balance. 5. Ecosystem disruption. The thawing of permafrost doesn't just release gases and pathogens, it also disrupts entire ecosystems. Arctic ecosystems are uniquely adapted to the cold, stable conditions provided by permafrost. As the ground thaws, plant life and wildlife habitats are affected, creating a ripple effect throughout the ecosystem. This disruption can have severe impacts on indigenous communities that rely on these ecosystems for their livelihoods and cultural practices. Imagine the ground beneath you shifting, altering the landscape and the resources you depend on. The loss of permafrost stability poses challenges to these communities, who have lived in harmony with their environment for generations. The effects are not just environmental but also social and cultural, highlighting the need for inclusive solutions. 6. Infrastructure damage. In addition to environmental and health concerns, the thawing of permafrost poses significant challenges to infrastructure in Arctic regions. As the ground becomes unstable, roads, pipelines, and buildings are at risk of damage. The consequences of this instability are not just inconvenient, they can be life-threatening. Picture a world where the very ground you walk on is shifting, causing structures to crumble and transportation routes to become impassable. The cost of repairing and maintaining infrastructure in these areas is immense, placing a financial burden on governments and communities. The need to address permafrost thaw is not just an environmental issue but also an economic one, with implications for development and sustainability in Arctic regions. 7. Solutions and research. In the face of these challenges, scientists and researchers are exploring potential solutions to slow permafrost thaw. One approach involves artificial cooling systems designed to stabilize the ground and prevent further thawing. Another critical strategy is reducing global emissions to mitigate warming, addressing the root cause of permafrost thaw. These efforts require collaboration and innovation, drawing on the expertise of scientists, policymakers, and communities affected by permafrost thaw. While the path ahead is daunting, there is hope in the collective efforts to find solutions. The future of permafrost and the ecosystems it supports depends on our ability to adapt and innovate in the face of climate change. The thawing of permafrost is a complex issue with far-reaching implications for our planet. From the release of greenhouse gases to the potential revival of ancient pathogens, the challenges are immense. However, through research, innovation, and collaboration, there is hope for mitigating the impacts of permafrost thaw.